Hello, my beautiful wanderers. Welcome to the Healing Pod. This is my very first podcast that I am recording for you guys and for myself. This is also going to be part of my series with vlogging as well. So I'm super excited to see where all of this goes. I wanted to make a short podcast slash video on an intro of me, just so whoever's out there listening to it can kind of get a little bit of an idea what the Healing Pod is meant for. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to go. I have definitely taken way too long in starting this. I have a lot of content. I've written some stuff, like some ideas that I want to do for a podcast, and I just haven't started yet. So I woke up this morning with this new energy and this feeling inside that it's time for me to put myself out there in a completely different way and to be free and not worry about what I'm saying and how I'm saying it and how I look and what do I feel and all of that stuff that I've been just kind of wrapped up in the last several months where I've been wanting to start this. So I just want to do a quick intro here. I've spent so much of my young adult life, and I say young because I'm in my 30s now, which I know is still young, but young adult life, meaning my 20s and my teenage years. I've spent most of that part of my life very overweight. I was obese. I was extremely unhappy. I was depressed. I was broken, and honestly just completely lost. And I honestly used to believe that my biggest roadblock in life was weighing 311 pounds. And for years, I had fed this negative narrative that lived in my mind rent-free, that when I lose the weight, I will actually start living my life. Or when I lose the weight, I will get to experience the world all around me. And what I've realized is that I had subconsciously labeled myself as this fat kid who will always be the third wheel, who's going to be picked last, and that is if she even gets picked. And I believed in my soul, like deep in my soul, that I was always going to be an afterthought and that I'm going to be the second best. And I have had this narrative for a very, very long time. This was my identity. And if I may be so bold, most of you who are listening right now can relate to some of this, or maybe even all of this. Even if you weren't overweight, I know that a lot of us share this identity crisis that we go through, especially at this age. And it's so crazy looking back at my life and reflecting at my old self. I have to ask myself, how did I become who I was? Like, when did I learn that my identity was of nobody who feared being seen or heard? I was fearful of failing. I was fearful of being noticed. And I want to learn more about why I had it. Now, I've definitely have some answers, but there's so much more growth and learning that I'm so ready for. But back in 2017, when I started my new journey, and later on in the episodes, I'm going to explain a little bit more because I've been on this particular journey for several years, way before 2017. But the only reason why I'm bringing up 2017 right now is because my last shift into really realizing that I'm ready for a real change began in 2017. All the new journeys that I took before that, all the resets that I had done before that, was leading me up to 2017. And when I had started this journey, I had thought that my weight loss was my story. But what ended up happening is that my story became more about unbecoming everything that I thought I was told to be. I had started to uproot these deep embedded narratives, and I basically started with a blank page, and I got to create more room so that I can grow. And yeah, it's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. It was really freaking hard. It's still hard today. I'm still having to pull these roots out, these weeds out, and, create more room, and then get myself spiritually ready to plant something else and see where else my life is going to take me. But I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but fast forward to today, I did lose the weight, and I lost over 100 pounds. And the best part of all of this is that my weight loss is not my transformation story, like I mentioned above or earlier. My weight loss is not my transformation story. My true transformation is changing the narrative of my mind. And I had decided that I'm done with writing myself as a supporting character. Like, this is my story. And I'm the lead, I'm the director, I'm the writer, I'm the producer, and any other roles that I should have named there. I don't know what other roles that could be there, but that basically sums it up. But I'm the one who gets to rewrite everything. So if I'm ready to be myself and live through a story with a happier ending, then it's time for me to rewrite the narrative of me. And, I did that by fighting for knowledge. I made a daily effort in allowing myself to be inspired by so many different people, by influencers that I would come across on YouTube, by gurus, teachers, coaches, my friends, my family, and even my favorite random people that I would come across once. Literally would never see them again, but I would come across them once. I would have some random conversation, and I would end up taking away a beautiful lesson, some kind of information that would shift me in that moment. And sometimes I would realize that I was inspired, and sometimes I would have no idea, but subconsciously I was recording all this information. And so I would just download this information all around me. And a lot of these conversations were not me talking necessarily. Maybe I would ask a question here and there, but most of it was me just simply listening to other people's voices and opinions and thoughts and ideas. And through my journey, I discovered the simple awareness of allowances. And that phrase right there, the simple awareness of allowances, that is going to be a whole episode on its own. And once you get to know me and you kind of hear more about my story, you're going to realize why allowances, when you allow yourself to do the things that you want to do without having shame and guilt associated with it, man, life is amazing. And I will explain a little bit more about that. I'll probably have one of my clients come on and talk about what they've learned when it comes to allowances. But by discovering this simple awareness of allowances, kind of a tongue twister, I dare you to say that 10 times in a row, but discovering this, I realized that my weight was just what lived on the surface of my perceived struggles. And this podcast, the Healing Pod, is a safe space that will allow me to continue my inner healing, all while helping others realize their true potential. At least that's the goal here. I have to be honest, this project that I'm embarking on, this brand new journey of sharing my life in a completely different way, is really brand new for me. And I am looking at this as something that I'm going to use in my tool belt to continue my inner growth and healing, because as much as I've changed, as much as I've been able to achieve in my life, there's still so much more room to grow and and rediscover about yourself. So I want this to be for me, but I also want this to be for others who are willing to listen, who connect to the stuff that I talk about, or the people that I'll be talking with. A lot of this is going to be conversations with other people. And that's what the HealingPOD is. So whether you're seeking to change your body, your eating habits, your mindset, your career, you're looking to heal from past traumas, you're learning to love your inner self, or how to be your best self in your relationships, whether it's, any type of relationship, your partner relationships or career or family, friendships, any type of relationships, to learn how to be your best self, you're the best version of yourself. I want you guys to know that it all starts from the same exact place. If you can unlock this part and you can truly connect with it, this is how you're going to start your journey, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. And that place is the mind. Our minds are significantly stronger and more powerful than anything else. The weight of your mind is heavier than the weight of your body. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. The weight of your mind is heavier than the weight of your body. So if we can sit here and think of all the negative things in our life, and we can live in that fear, living in that lack, and truly believe that there's nothing more for us out there, that it's too hard to change, it's too hard to do something different, or go get the guy, or go get the girl, or show up as who you are, then if your mind can believe in that, then can you imagine for 5 seconds if you can switch the narrative and you can believe the complete opposite just for a couple of seconds? Can you imagine what that's going to do for you? And if you practice over and over again, one of my coaches who has said something that has stuck with me for a very, very long time. He said that practice doesn't make perfect, right? We all know this saying, practice makes perfect. The HealingPOD is not about being perfect or finding perfection in who we are. Perfection is something that does not exist. So practice does not make perfect. What my coach said was, practice makes permanent. So if you want something in your life to be permanent, whatever it is, then you practice it. So if you practice negative thoughts and you live in a negative narrative, then that negative narrative becomes permanent. But if you want the complete opposite, guess what? Practice is what's going to make that permanent. So join me on the HealingPOD and allow yourself to awaken the beauty and the beast from within. I can't wait to see you guys on my very first episode, where I go into more detail about who I am and my story. And I hope that you all have an amazing day filled with love and laughter and beauty. And remember, the weight of your mind is heavier than the weight of your body. Thanks for listening.